Hey everybody, Jack Acid here with round 5 of Season Challenge Mode in F1 2012. We are now accepting our contract offer from Lotus after beating Roman Grosjean as our rival, teaming up with Kimi Räikkönen. And before we can move on, we're going to have to select yet another rival. And now that we're getting into the upper tier cars, probably going to take a look at the Ferrari. Going to go ahead and do what should be done in real life anyway. Take out Felipe Massa. Sorry, I had to say it. And team up with Alonso. And here we are at the new circuit on the calendar in real life. This track will be unveiled in November of this year. And it's the first year, obviously, of the inclusion in the F1 2000 series. And I'm relieved to say it's a very fun track. I've actually got a hot lap video in a Ferrari on my channel. Feel free to check that out. Certainly haven't mastered it, but taking you around and giving you my thoughts and feelings on it, taking a look at qualifying, and you can see we're already way off the pace from Jenson Button, current pole position leader. And you can see skipping ahead here, I get things all wrong and go off track, and that's really going to cost me. And notice here in F1 2012 that when you go off track, you actually slow down, like Forza 4 off-track effect, if you will. And you can see that my mistakes cost me dearly, only managing to get 18th. Meanwhile, my teammate qualified P12, and Massa, our rival for the next couple of races, qualified in P10. So only 8 positions to make up, and I have noticed even here on hard that you can usually make up some pretty good positions in the first couple of corners, but going to be a challenge. Every time you select a new rival, you're not quite sure if you're going to have the pace to compete with them. So we're going to have to wait and see. Starting out behind Perez in the Sauber, Maldonado off to the right in the Williams, and off the line here, my first go in the Lotus car. And every car does feel different, I will give it that. This is a very, very difficult braking point here in turn 1. And staying on the inside now, and there's Massa right there, and have to get around Räikkönen, who slips, and our teammate here almost costs us a couple of positions, able to get around Di Resta. And Kobayashi very, very slow going through these S-sweeps, and have to hang back in position 10 for now. See what we can do in terms of making up some ground, but Felipe Massa already behind us, so that's a very good start, and a big reason why I don't want to be too aggressive here in lap 1. Now coming down this blind embankment, sweeping around to one of the first mini straights on the circuit, and going to have a move on the inside of Kobayashi, and now Hulkenberg. And I don't believe that there's contact, but I go wide, too much understeer, and that's not only going to allow them to maintain their positions, but now Di Resta gets in front of me in the Force India, and now being hounded by my teammate Räikkönen in the Lotus. And coming down at the end of this very, very long straight, going to try and make up some ground on the Force Indias. And swing in front of Kobayashi here, and able to keep it on track, and able to get back up into P8, and not a moment too soon, as Felipe Massa was threatening back there, and at one point he was only a couple of positions back after my off-track incident, but able to get back into 8th position, and now chasing down Ricardo in the Toro Rosso, a surprising P7 here, still in lap 1 as we come around through the final sector. And this little corner can be deceptive. As you can see, I go wide there, and that's going to allow Di Resta to get right up on my gearbox. Now dropping it down into 2nd gear and keeping it between the candy stripes as we come down the end of lap 1. And you can see that I've got a train of cars behind me, but the good news is Felipe Massa is all the way back in 13th. But given that this is a new track, as you can see, I get my apex all wrong coming around the blind braking point there. And that's basically a good example of what I was just about to say, is that given how green I am with this track, 5 laps right now feels like an eternity as I get my gearbox a little wrong there. And now trying to get everything all sorted out and somehow hit a purple sector time. That seems hard to believe. Di Resta now thinking about having to go on the inside, but runs out of opportunity. And now you can see that the cars in front of me are building up a larger gap. I definitely do not have any consistent lap times down for this track yet. The most challenging part about it for me have been these hard angle braking points. They're sort of difficult to master. And but this track really makes up for it in other areas. For example, this long straight and some of the tighter corners heading through different parts of the sector, especially in Sector 1. It's a whole lot of fun. And like this, for example, these are some really strange sets of corners. You almost have to treat this one in particular like a wide sweeping hairpin. And this corner also very difficult, and actually overshoot it just a little bit. You're supposed to basically cut inside and kiss the curb as you get your nose straightened out. And then this long sweeping right-hander actually should be further out on the track. You're supposed to use the entire width of the circuit. And brake too late and go off track here. This is the corner I'd mentioned in lap 1. That's very deceiving, and Paul di Resta able to get by us. So now trying to cinch up the gap here as we come around the final hairpin to polish off the end of lap 2, and you can see that I have the pace over the Force India, running out of curves, so not able to take any advantage there, but able to get ahead of him and ideally outbrake him here. Don't want to cut him off, and you can see just how choppy my turn into the corner there was, which was basically awful. And undoubtedly di Resta was being more defensive there than he was offensive, and probably just trying to stay out of my way because I did not know what I was doing. So now here in lap 3, still maintaining a P8 position, and this is a particularly fun little spot here, just kind of rolling up over this hill and then immediate cut on the left, and then down the embankment. As you can see that the Force India is keen on getting by somehow, some way, and he may have a chance if I can't get my line straightened out getting around these corners. But fortunately, pretty forgiving AI in those situations. They will back off, and unless they have a gap, you can typically trust they'll stay behind you. But there are a lot of wide areas of circuit on this track, as you can see di Resta taking advantage of DRS. And let's see if we can get by him at the braking point, kind of glide in, not overly pretty. But now Kobayashi was able to overtake di Resta, and there's no question that that was probably helped by my indecisiveness. So the Sauber were able to take advantage there, and still don't quite have my angle down on that corner, but effective enough, staying ahead and trying to find my entry point on this long sweeping right-hander. Still not quite going wide enough, but at least I'm keeping it on track, and definitely want to be conservative at this corner because it's giving me problems. I think you want to typically drop it into 4th gear, and that's probably pretty safe. It's actually a pretty easy angle. The difficulty that I have with it is that the curb comes up very fast on you. It's kind of hard to see, so just have not gotten a feel for the apex of it. So, of course, that's what practice is for. And handling the hairpin here at turn 1 much better. Probably the best I've done the entire race. And right now, very satisfied with where I'm at, but all it takes is one significant off-road excursion for Felipe Massa to get around us. As you can see, Kobayashi swooping around behind me, lurking and waiting for me to make some kind of a mistake. And I do find that I am routinely under pressure in these races. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not especially good. I certainly can't be that consistent most of the time, but usually under pressure in all the races, which always makes them exciting. And right now, probably having my best go in terms of these hard angled corners, which have been giving me problems off and on all race. And now Kobayashi screaming up in the Sauber, and he's going to have a go on the inside here. And he's able to get ahead for just a moment. Going to try and outbrake him. And let's see if I jinxed myself. No, I did not. Able to manage that corner pretty well, maintaining just a handful of positions ahead of Felipe Massa and the Ferrari. And we want to make sure that we have no more significant problems, or it will cost us the victory in terms of the rival challenge. As you can see, I go way too high on the apex there, and am fortunate enough to not get overtaken, able to maintain P8, coming around the wide sweeps and making sure that we don't get things wrong at this corner, which I had a problem with on lap 1. And able to stay ahead of the Sauber for now. Going to make a sharp cut on the inside here. You can see that Kobayashi was having the same thought process there, and was thinking that he could get ahead. And we've got 1 lap to go, so let's see if the last 4 laps have taught us anything, and see if we can put in a good lap. And you can see I still do not quite have my entry point right there at turn 1, but able to stay ahead of Kobayashi for now. Heading into these sweeps, this is generally where the AI is very slow, so want to try and take advantage of that. But of course, as soon as I say that, I start to have problems, and Kobayashi was actually keen on getting around, and now pushing on the outside and barely able to stay ahead of him under severe pressure from the Sauber. And now just trying to manage my throttle and make sure that I don't take a corner too wide. And you can see now that I'm not able to build up much of a gap at all. And that will probably mean fighting for our life all the way to the finish line here as we come around to the main straight. And let's see what kind of pace the Sauber has. And you can see I'm burning off my curse here. I have no opportunity for DRS. The P7 car and beyond are way ahead. And here comes Kobayashi. Let's see if he has enough room to get by. Looks like he will not. And struggling with my braking. Severe understeer with the Lotus and going off track. And somehow staying ahead of the Sauber. And I am just trying to nurse this car home at this point. Remember, I had a big problem with this Apex earlier, this time being almost too conservative and just kind of cutting it off altogether. Don't even bother with my angle, just want to get turned and see the curb and try and get my wheels around without incident, and we're able to do that. So now just 2 more corners to go. Drop it into 3rd gear just to make sure, and like I said, normally you should be able to take that in 4th, but I just absolutely wanted to make sure I didn't have problems. And now Kobayashi having one last look on the inside there, but not going to be able to get around. And we are going to finish here in P8, beating Felipe Massa in the Ferrari. So even though I had a handful of problems, overall not too bad. Kind of a rebound from my really poor Montreal race, but still not really having the kind of race that I can be proud of. So here's the final results. You can see Kimi dropping all the way back into P13 finish, and Felipe Massa in P11. But the only thing we had to concern ourselves with was beating Massa, which we were able to do. And now we get to look forward to the next race and see if we can't take his seat with Ferrari. And in all my time spent with this series, I have actually only raced for Ferrari for 1 season. And it will be nice to race for them if I get an opportunity here in season mode. And I'm hoping that if I can race for Ferrari for a couple of races, I might be able to race for either McLaren or Red Bull for the final 2 races. Going to have to make a decision on that, but don't want to get ahead of myself. For all I know, the ante is going to be up a great deal for the last handful of races, so we'll have to wait and see. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. Hope that you have a chance to check out my channel for a number of other F1 2012 gameplay videos. I've got some playlist links in the description of this video. Feel free to use that and check it out, and also have a full season of F1 2011 with Force India posted, as well as Forza 4. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.